First things first, before this video begins, make sure to comment your main down below. If you're new, comment your new, and at the end of the video, reply to the comment that you put who you're going to main now or who you change your main to, right? This shows me that I've actually changed people's mains, and hopefully we can see who people move to and if people move at all and if people find their new mains. Anyway, I read all the comments, so if you want to ask me any questions, do it there. But if you want to ask me a question, get a quick snappy reply, join my Discord and ping me in my server. Anyway, let's get into it. See you later. So my name's Lilsun, and today we're going to get straight into finding your main in Brawl. We're going to do it based on playstyle, and I'm going to try and figure out your playstyle. But remember, I'm not a mind reader, so I might get it a little bit wrong, and I'm going to need your help. First things first, sub and like the video, you know, the classic YouTuber things. But I'm going to need your help in being honest with yourself. You have to be honest with what sort of player you are, how you move, and get rid of all the stigmas. A lot of people slate passive players or parry players, but it's okay. All play styles are valid. But let's get straight into this, and hopefully we're going to find your main. First of all, is how skilled are you at the game? Be honest with yourself. Do you have a lot of mechanical skill? Can you move a lot? Can you do all the inputs? Do you know what all the moves do, right? Because we're going to go through some characters you can play if you're totally new to the game. You've never played and you're just picking up the game, right? And I have 3 characters for this, right? Bodvar, right? He's a very base character. He has hammer, he has sword, and he is a very solid character. Look at his stats, 6655. He's the baseline of Brawlhalla, so he's very, very good to play if you're new. Hattori, right? Very good to play if you're new. Sword and spear, 2 of the most easy weapons, which are also very strong together, and a nice and quick legend, you know, which can get the stats quite balanced depending on what stance you're at, right? And finally, Koji. Koji is a bit harder than those 2, but has bone sword, which are 2 very consistent fundamental weapons, and has an amazing sig kit, right? They're the 3 characters you want to main if you're totally new to the game. Now we're going to get in on who you should main, depending on your playstyle, elo, all of that. So I'll be suggesting 1 character and 2 weapons for every playstyle, right? Or most of it, hopefully I get every playstyle. But what that will mean is if you already have a main weapon, maybe right now you're a spear main, right? But you're looking to play a more aggressive character, then I can suggest another weapon, or 2 weapons, which a spear legend may have, and then you can play a more aggressive game while keeping your old main weapon. Anyway, let's get straight into it. So first things first is if you're a really fundamental player who likes playing very perfectly and optimally, I would pick up sword, right? Or I would pick up spear, right? They're my 2 weapon choices for a player who wants to play very fundamentally. You see, sword is the jack of all trades weapon, right? It does everything. It has good range, good speed, good kill power, good everything, right? Nothing's particularly great. It has some very good aspects, but nothing is like, oh, sword is the best at this. But sword isn't really bad at anything. And then the second weapon I would recommend is something like spear, right? Because spear is a weapon which is kind of the same as sword, except it sacrifices true combos for range. Spear has more range and less true combos than sword, right? Which means it's a bit more of a read weapon. But if you look at all these moves, they all clearly have a different purpose, and they're a very fundamental weapon where every hit matters. And of course, you know, spear and sword, I'm on the character already. The character I recommend for the second time, if you're just trying to play very fundamentally and slowly and kind of think about your moves, right? And I would recommend Hattori. So if you're an aggressive player, you know, looking to get up close and personal, then the weapons are obvious. You want katars and you want gauntlets. You see, these weapons can apply a lot of pressure, right? Very quickly. And if you're aggressive, then you're probably going to want to be close to your opponent. So katars and gaunts are the choice here, right? And surprisingly, Caspian here is not the main choice and recommendation, right? I would recommend Ember. And I think Ember's the honorary mention, honorable mention, but Petra is number 1. You see, Ember has very low defense and like not that good stats, but has a really good sigs which kind of suit her aggressive playstyle. And bow is also a very fast-paced aggressive weapon, right? And she has amazing bow sigs, some of the best in the game. But number 1 has to be Petra, right? Petra has like one of the best sig kits in the game, right? and especially for aggressive play. You see, Orb is also a very good aggressive weapon, right? It's kind of like if you mixed Katars and Sword, right? And Gauntlets, again, is, in my opinion, one of the best. But her stats and SIGs kind of add to this, right? She has very high attack and SIGs which move you a lot and really like to not kind of hold a zone on Gauntlets, you know, not kind of space. Whereas on Orb, she has like disjoints where you can attack them from a far range with your SIGs. Meaning that if you need to play passive, you can, right? If you need to calm down a bit, you can. And that is so my pick for the best aggressive character is Petra. Now, if you're a passive and slow and methodical player, right? Axe and Hammer have got to be the ones for you, right? Hammer because the Axe because, well, it's massive and slow, but you can do these fast chains with it, but you can kind of do these like when you learn the combos, right? Watch a guy, then you can see these very fundamental combos to the weapon which you kind of execute and then you get away. And then obviously it's a massive hard-hitting weapon, and at low percentages, one SAR kills, meaning that you just have to look for the SAR and nothing else. And Hammer right now is very strong, but Hammer is a very good fundamental weapon. You see, its ground moves are quick, right? Very quick. But then it has big air swings which really do a lot of damage, but take a while to come out, right? Especially the Nair is a very fundamental part of the kit. And then these pair well with the fast ground moves, allowing you to combo people. But what people don't talk about Hammer is how good its neutral game is, right? Hammer's neutral game with Stomp, Sidelight, and like SAR means that in a situation where you're both kind of running back and forth, Hammer has a very good advantage. But surprisingly, Teros isn't my choice. My choice for the most kind of passive and slow paced character, right, if you want to chill out a bit, is Barraza, right? Barraza has Axe and Blasters. Blasters are often with a lot of range, so you can do the exact same thing, but, you know, yeah, it's a bit of a quicker weapon, so it's not that good. It's still very good for slow play, but it's not in the top 2 weapons. But Axe, as I just said, very good weapon for slow play. But the stats and the SIGs of this character are just perfect for the... are just absolutely perfect for the way you play the weapons, right? Because the SIGs, right, are easy and really do the job. Very strong SIGs, and having good SIGs allows you to scare your opponent and slow down the game a bit more. Whereas character like Teros can be played with a lot of pressure because of that high damage stat, and you can rush down your opponents really quickly. So for a passive player, Barraza is my #1 choice. Now, if you're a flashy player, right, not even more than one weapon, right? Actually, I'll give 2 weapons, but if you're a flashy player, just play Scythe, right? You get to drag your opponent around, it looks very cool, good 0 to deaths, good clips. And #2, if you're a bit of a flashy player, depending on what you call flashy, you could call Greatsword quite flashy, but just Scythe, right? I recommend Scythe if you're a flashy player, if you want to hit those really nice clips. And the character I recommend, right, is Mordex, but that's a bit biased, but probably the character I'd recommend if you're flashy is Artemis. Just because on Artemis, right, one, you have very cool flashy SIGs, okay? You have 9 speed with like a good, like, you can have 9 speed with a good stance, right? And you can, you have Lance. And Lance is a weapon which may not seem flashy because it's all big and bulky, but you can go for like big 0 to deaths and kind of do the same thing on Scythe, but obviously not as cool because it's Scythe, you know? And like you can go for really cool 0 to deaths on this weapon, and Artemis is the top pick. Very cool looking SIGs as well, you know, they make for good content, and she is overall a very strong legend who is kind of built for a flashy player, you know? You can get really lovely clips on her. In other fighting games, there's characters with projectiles and kind of things you shoot at people. And Brawlhalla doesn't really have a like long range projectiles other than weapon throws, but that doesn't really count. So if you want a character about spacing and keeping your opponent away from you, right? Dinah is the character. She has bow. Well, there's 2, Dinah and Ada, right? Bow and blasters. Blasters are very important here. Most range, very quick. They're kind of this spacey weapon that you keep people away from you with, right? And that kind of syncs. That kind of works perfectly with her SIGs, right? As her SIGs aren't that long range, or except for a few, except for the end SIG. But especially on bow, her SIGs are very close range hits, and that means that the SIGs pair perfectly with the weapons, and she's the perfect character. Ada has a bit less range, because I would say bow's got more range than spear in most cases, but Ada has a different strength, and that is Ada's very spammable SIGs, right? Ada has amazing SIGs, and that means that you can kind of keep them away with your SIGs as well, because they're also quite long range and they're very strong. And it means you can find these really early kills after keeping them out for so long. When you finally do let them in, then they die. So my picks for these are Ada and Dinah. So if you want to get away from your opponent, and if you're a very spacey player. Now I'm going to mention more niches of players, right? So some players want to play the worst character and have the hardest challenge, right? And I would pick Jiro for that, right? I'm a Jiro main right now because he is super fun, but he is also the worst character in the game, right? And so it kind of is a trade-off. But if you're looking for a big challenge, I would recommend playing, because there's not really a drawback if you're at a lower level, I'd recommend playing Jiro, right? If you're looking for like a meta character, this might not be relevant in a bit, look up a tier list. But right now, if you're looking for a meta character, pick up a Hammer Legend, maybe like Core, Bodvar, you know, Cassidy, Scarlet. I'd pick up a Hammer Legend. Yeah. If you're looking for some unique legends, which kind of are very different, right? Magyar has 10 defense with a certain stat, right? The only character who can get 10 defense, right? And has 2 kind of heavy weapons, which are really cool, right? So they are a very like slow kind of tanky character. Then you got Zol, right, with the 10 attack, right? He's a very unique character. He's very big, aggressive, fast-paced character. Obviously, giant ogre, you know, classic. If you want to be like a pioneer and play like an underrated legend, right, Dusk is the way to go. Everyone thinks this legend is bad, but they are just not bad. Dusk is a good legend, and no one plays Dusk like at all. No one plays Dusk, and Dusk is a really solid legend. And that's it. I've wrapped it up. I've gone through most of the play styles. I hopefully found a weapon. You know, if you're a spear main right now and you want to be a bit more aggressive, you can pick up Wu Shang or Queen Nai, but Queen Nai is low speed. But so hopefully we've covered it. Maybe you're looking for a new main, maybe you start a brawl and you're just looking for a main in general. Hopefully I helped you find one, and if you would please subscribe, it would mean a lot. If you're here already, I'm trying to hit 20k 25k around there by my birthday, because my last birthday, right, which is June, I didn't even hit 400 subs, which is my goal, and I was quite sad. I was like 397 or something. So I'm setting a really high goal to see if, you know, we can meet the goal, or if we can fail it this year and then get an even bigger goal next year. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video, and hope you're having a good day. Check out some of my other content and sub. Peace.